So if you saw my review on the Galaxy Z Fold 3, you already know it's a device that I absolutely love and enjoy. But what I wanted to do was just give you guys a follow-up so you can know how my time's been with the device, the good things, the things that are a little bit concerning, that whole 9 yards. So you already know how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna go down the list and talk about the things that honestly didn't surprise me too much, and I'm going to talk about the one thing that I definitely still need Samsung to kind of get laser focused on. But before we go ahead and get into it, if this is your first time stopping by the channel, this is Ike's Tech Talk, where we cover the latest in tech news, reviews, and discussion. If that's something that you're interested in, do yourself a favor, hit that like and subscribe button down below. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So we're gonna start with the build and how the device has held up over this past 1 month, or just over 1 month. So to go ahead and start things off, the device itself has held up fantastically well. Now, I have had, one kind of major drop and a few little drops here and there. Admittedly, I haven't dropped the device without a case on it, but I did drop the device in the aramid fiber case that I carry with it every single day, with the screen open, and it did land on the screen. And I'm happy to report absolutely no issues whatsoever. Screen held up fantastically, no scratches. I held it under like super fine light and I didn't see anything there. So definitely a good sign. Now, I have seen reports where some people's are breaking with just normal usage. So I guess it's one of those things where it's your mileage may vary. I just kind of wanted to give you guys my experience. That way you can kind of formulate your own consensus or your own opinion if the fragility of foldables is something that's kind of held you back or whatever the case may be. The way I personally see it is, no matter what device you own or no matter what device you have, if you drop that device the right way, it's going to break the first time, every time. As Jerry Riggs everything says, it's glass and it's glass. It is what it is. It doesn't matter if it's ceramic shield, doesn't matter if it's this stronger under display glass or whatever. It's glass. It's going to break if you drop it the right way. So just take care of your devices, and if you're afraid you may drop it, pick up the Samsung Care Plus protection plan like I did. That way, in the event that it happens, you're 100% covered. Next, let's go ahead and get into the cameras. So cameras are an area where I usually see Samsung push out software updates. Even in the normal security patch updates, they'll kind of push out some improvements here and there to things like HDR or portrait mode, stuff of that nature. And with the Z Fold 3, I haven't seen any of those yet. The device is still fairly new at just being a little over a month old, so sometimes it does take them a little bit longer to roll those out. But like I said, I haven't seen any updates to the camera. Not saying that the camera is in like dire need of an update. I mean, you still do have the slight Samsung shutter lag, so you kind of can't get away with that. It's definitely improved over past iterations of Samsung devices, but still just a hair bit slower than what I would get on like a Pixel or an iPhone. So I would say maybe a software update to fix that would be like dire. But in regards to the actual output that I'm getting on the Fold 3, absolutely fantastic photos. I did a video on the Z Fold 3 versus the S21 Ultra in terms of camera comparisons, and a lot of people chose the Z Fold 3. I keep telling people, don't look at what's on a spec sheet to determine whether or not a phone has good cameras or not. Use the cameras in practice. See what type of output they're doing. Either way, I would still love to see Samsung add like a dedicated telephoto lens zoom out. 3x is okay, but for me, that perfect sweet spot has to be at least like 4 or 5x. I think that's like the real sweet spot. What I'd love to see is like a variable lens from maybe about 3x to maybe say like 6 or 7x. I think that would be great as well. But like I said, no software updates on the camera, but I am still enjoying the cameras when I'm just looking at just normal output. Plus the fact that I can actually take selfie photos using those rear cameras. I'll go ahead and flash an example I took just over the weekend to go see Venom. Spoiler alert, fantastic movie. Go check it out, but make sure you stay past the post-credit scene. You gotta stay. I know, side rail, but I had to let you guys know. But yeah, I took an awesome low light photo, and if you know anything about movie theaters, I know it's been a while since we've all been to one, but when you go into the movie theater, the lights dim and it's kind of that real amberish kind of hue. So I was expecting Samsung to kind of lean into that color space a bit too much, because that's what I've experienced from them in the past, but it absolutely nailed it. So I'll go ahead and make sure that I flash that somewhere in the video so that way you guys can see that photo example. In my opinion, it came out really great. Samsung makes, in my opinion, some of the best cameras on the market. Just need a few more things to kind of polish it and refine it. Next up, battery. So when it comes to the battery on the Z Fold 3, the results that I'm seeing, and based on myself, seems to be kind of skewed. So in my personal case, I'm getting an average of about 6 hours, maybe a little bit more than 6 hours of screen on time. So in my opinion, that is good battery life. It's not great or fantastic. I mean, I would love to see great or fantastic battery life out of this device, but it's definitely good, and it'll definitely get me through the day. Now, just like any phone, if I'm sitting on my phone hammering it hard, playing emulators all day, or scrolling Twitter and watching YouTube videos in split view multitasking mode, things like that, you're obviously 110% gonna kill this battery. So it's one of those things where it just depends on your usage. If you know you're very taxing on your devices and you're away from a charger for any significant amount of time, this may not be the iteration for you. I would maybe wait until they come out with better battery life. But if you're one of those users who say always has access to a charger, or if you don't necessarily have to worry about taxing the device super hard, then I can definitely say you shouldn't worry about battery usage. You're gonna be okay. And then lastly, for the follow-up, I want to talk about software, because for a device like this, the hardware can definitely make or break it, but I personally think that the software is just as, if not more important, right? So when it comes to software, it's definitely a mixed bag for me. So in terms of software, it's one of those things that when it's hitting on all cylinders, I absolutely love it. Take this example where I was playing a Game Boy Advance emulator and I was playing Metroid Fusion, and I was looking at a walkthrough for Metroid Fusion as well to try to get past a part that I was stuck on. So in these type of instances, this form factor really excelled, and I feel like that's where foldables or even dual screen devices like the Duo really come into their own, is when it comes to multitasking or doing more. Samsung even takes that a step further with offering things like floating windows, where you can run miniature windows of your applications just like if you were on a Windows PC. You can even tuck these floating windows away to the side like you would do a picture-in-picture window, to kind of bring back what you're working on the four screen right there front and center. And then when you need it, you just bring it out. I find that features like this are really where you'll see foldables excel. Yes, you can split screen multitask. Yes, you can run emulators. Yes, you have floating windows on other Samsung devices. But the thing is, the more of that you do on those normal slab style devices, the more crammed it's going to be. Whereas on this big canvas that's the Fold, you have way more screen real estate to do these things. So in my opinion, I definitely love the software in that fact. And if you have that particular use case where you love to do more than one thing at a time, this is definitely a device that I can say at least take a look at. Now for the software side on the not so good, so it's not that it's not good, it's just I can really see where this is a type of device where we can see Samsung constantly pushing the limits, and the rest of the industry in terms of developers and even Google themselves are trying to catch up to it in terms of the software. For the longest time, Android natively didn't support this type of form factor. It's just with Android 12 that Google is really starting to build in the native APIs and native support and resources for this type of device to really come into its own. On top of that, you literally will see implementation and examples of developers still not taking proper advantage of that more screen real estate. I look at, say, Cash App for an example, which is an app that I use pretty regularly. Instead of maybe getting a tabbed view where you can see all your different options on the left side, you get a blown up version of what you would see on a slab style smartphone. Now, for some people, that's perfectly fine, as maybe they have, poor eyesight or just want the same amount of content blown up. But for me personally, I would love to see developers really take advantage of tablet user interfaces or even interfaces specifically for foldables and really push the envelope in terms of what our applications can do. I mean, at the bare minimum, I'd want at least Google to enforce a, for foldable style phones, you have to incorporate this tab style view. Even that, in my opinion, is significantly better than just having a blown up phone interface. Even some of Google's own applications suffer from this. Take YouTube for an example, which as a content creator, I watch a ton of YouTube. Now with YouTube, it seems to struggle between determining whether it should be in the smartphone or slab style or the tablet style. And you have the situation where it kind of gets caught somewhere in the middle, where you'll see the tablet UI with the sidebar on the smaller display of the Z Fold 3, which if you know anything about the tablet view, it's just not gonna look good on that super narrow display. So like I said, situations like this are where we really need to see Google optimize Android and developers really optimize their applications. In this particular instance, I have to give Samsung a pass because they can only build the device and build the support necessary. It's up to Google and developers to really take this new form factor serious and develop their apps for it. All in all, I do believe that foldables are a part of our future. But just because something is a part of our future doesn't mean it has to be your future. Foldables, in my opinion, work best when you already have a workflow or a use case for them, and you're not trying to create a use case or create a workflow. I feel like foldables, like so many other things in life, are 100% based off of how they work for you. It's all about preference. Just because foldables are here doesn't mean that slab smartphones aren't good anymore. Slab smartphones, I feel, will continue to be the norm for a very long time, and you'll see foldables just become a part of that norm. Different strokes for different folks, as I always say. But that's gonna do it for the video today, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. This is Ike's Tech Talk, and let me know down in the comment section below, how do you feel about foldables? Do you see them as just a fad or just a phase, or do you see them really becoming a part of our future? Again, thank you so much. Have a great day. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.